America's Gulf fortress may be cracking. Analysts say Iranian strikes have turned key US bases from symbols of power into magnets for attack, leaving Washington's regional security architecture shaken and Gulf allies questioning the price of hosting it. Has Iran just rewritten the map of American power in the Middle East? A growing number of Middle East analysts say Iran's retaliatory strikes have severely degraded US military infrastructure across the Gulf, raising questions over the future viability of America's regional basing network. Experts speaking at the Arab Center Washington, D.C.'s annual conference said at least a dozen US military sites in the Gulf have sustained such extensive damage that they now create more vulnerabilities than strategic advantages.
This is the physical architecture of American primacy, and Iran has essentially rendered it useless in the span of a month. We are not seeing a full and accurate reporting of the extent of damage that has been done to US bases in the region.
The remarks follow a New York Times report last month describing several US bases in the region as all but uninhabitable after repeated Iranian strikes. Among the most exposed sites is the US Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, long considered a pillar of Washington's military posture in the Gulf.
My friends in the region, they'll send me pictures of the base in Bahrain. The bases around the region are suffering real damage, and I think it's very unlikely that we're ever going to go back and put our Fifth Fleet back in Bahrain. It's too vulnerable, so in a sense, the entire purpose of America's Middle East has come crashing down. We don't have an alternative way yet of articulating or thinking about what might replace it.
Analysts also warned that Gulf states are increasingly questioning the value of hosting US forces after becoming targets themselves during the conflict.
When the benefits of a transactional approach like that begin to erode so much from one side, then that relationship is going to fray. Close relations with the US, whether it's US military bases, or promoting normalization with Israel, or enforcing US sanctions, or maintaining the dollar peg of their currencies, is less a benefit now than actually a liability.
Tritia Parsi of the Quincy Institute said the war has shattered confidence in the American security umbrella.
Those bases were not a deterrent against Iranian attacks. Instead, they became the target of those attacks. They became magnets for those attacks, and as a result, reliance on the American security umbrella really seems to be in shatters.
Parsi added that some Gulf monarchies may now look increasingly toward Israel for security cooperation if they conclude Washington can no longer shield them effectively. If these assessments prove accurate, Iran's strikes may have done more than damage US infrastructure. They may have fundamentally altered the military balance and alliance structure underpinning America's presence in the Gulf for more than 3 decades. Iran has launched a major new phase of its retaliatory campaign, with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, announcing the 90th wave of Operation True Promise 4 on Thursday, targeting US-linked military and industrial infrastructure across the Gulf. According to an IRGC statement released April 3rd, the operation involved coordinated missile and drone strikes on what it described as critical infrastructure tied to US and Israeli interests in the region. Among the targets, steel plants in Abu Dhabi and aluminum facilities in Bahrain, sites the IRGC claims were previously untouched in earlier waves of attacks. The statement also reported strikes on military-linked positions near Manama, as well as weapons-related facilities, including those associated with Rafael systems. Iranian officials further claimed that dozens of US personnel were killed or wounded, with the affected areas reportedly sealed off and emergency evacuations continuing for hours. These claims have not been independently verified.
This operation is dedicated to the families of the martyr workers who were killed in previous attacks. The destruction of criminal and terrorist infrastructure in the region would continue.
In the second phase of the operation, the IRGC said it expanded its strike envelope to Israeli targets, including air bases at Tel North and Palmachim, as well as military zones across Tel Aviv, Haifa, Eilat, the Negev, and Beersheba. Regional US bases were also hit, according to the statement, including Ahmad al-Jaber and Ali al-Salem in Kuwait, and Al-Kaj in Saudi Arabia. A radar warning system at Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE was reportedly destroyed, a system considered key to early missile detection. Separately, Iran's army confirmed a drone strike on Al Azraq Air Base in Jordan, describing it as a central hub for US air operations in West Asia.
In the early hours of Thursday, the courageous soldiers of the Islamic Republic of Iran's army targeted advanced fighter jets of the terrorist army of the United States, stationed at Al Azraq base in Jordan with drone attacks.
Meanwhile, Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Kalibaf, claimed that 7 million Iranians stood ready to fight any US ground invasion of the Islamic Republic. Taking to his X handle, Kalibaf said,
Right now, in less than a week, a powerful national campaign sweeping across the country has brought forward around 7 million Iranians who have already stepped up and declared they're ready to pick up arms and stand in defense of our nation. Let me tell you something straight from the gut. Iranians don't just talk about defending their country, we bleed for it. We've done it before and we're ready to do it again. You come for our home. You're going to meet the whole family. Locked, loaded, and standing tall. Bring it on. Bring it.
With strikes now spanning multiple countries and domains, from industrial infrastructure to forward military bases, the conflict is entering a wider regional phase, raising the risk of a broader multi-front confrontation across West Asia.